The fork hit my shoulder and clattered onto my plate. I looked up to see my sister Jessica's 7-year-old son, Aiden, staring at me with that particular expression children get when they're repeating something an adult told them. "Mom says you're the help," he announced to the entire Thanksgiving table. "She says that's why you don't have nice things like us." The dining room went silent for exactly 2 seconds. Then my brother-in-law, Marcus, laughed. My mother joined in. My uncle Robert actually slapped the table. Jessica picked up her wine glass, smirking. "Aiden, sweetie, that's not nice to say out loud. But you said." "I know what I said. Just eat your turkey." I looked around the table. 14 people. My entire extended family. Every single one of them either laughing or trying not to smile. I stood up, folded my napkin, and placed it beside my plate. "Where are you going?" Mom asked, still chuckling. "We haven't even had pie yet." I didn't answer. I collected my coat from the hall closet and walked out of Jessica's house. The house had helped her buy 4 years ago, when her credit score was 580 and no bank would touch her. The November air was cold against my face as I drove home. My phone buzzed at 10:34 p.m. "Jessica, seriously? You left because of a joke?" "Aiden's 7. He doesn't know better." I stared at the message. Aiden didn't know better because Jessica had taught him to see me as less than family, as staff, as someone who existed to serve them. Another message. "This is so typical of you. Always making everything about yourself. It was Thanksgiving and you ruined it by storming out. Then, know your place. We're family, but that doesn't mean we're equals. Some of us worked hard to get where we are." I read that last message 3 times. Know your place. I opened my filing cabinet and pulled out a folder labeled Jessica Property. Inside were the documents from 4 years ago, the private mortgage agreement, the promissory note, and the deed of trust listing me as the beneficiary. When Jessica and Marcus had been desperate to buy a house before their second child was born, they'd come to me. Their credit was destroyed from Marcus's failed business venture. They'd been denied by 6 different lenders. I'd offered them a solution. I would buy the house outright for $385,000. They would pay me monthly mortgage payments of $2,400, less than they'd been paying in rent. After 5 years of on-time payments, they could refinance in their own names and buy the house from me at the original price. They'd signed everything my lawyer drafted. They'd been so grateful. "You're saving our lives," Jessica had cried. "I'll never forget this." 4 years later, she'd forgotten completely. She'd convinced herself she owned that house, that she'd earned it, that I was just her struggling little sister who'd somehow scraped together enough to help with the down payment. The mortgage agreement had a standard acceleration clause. If the borrower was more than 30 days late on payment, I could call the entire remaining balance due immediately. They were currently 47 days late. I'd been sending reminders, which Jessica had ignored. I typed a response to her text. "I do know my place. Check your mortgage documents." Her reply came instantly. "What are you talking about?" I didn't respond. Instead, I opened my laptop and drafted an email to my attorney. "David, please prepare a notice of default and acceleration for the property at 847 Maple Ridge Drive. The borrowers are 47 days past due on their mortgage payment. Per the terms of our agreement, I'm exercising my right to call the full loan balance of $298,000 due within 10 days. Please file all necessary paperwork and initiate foreclosure proceedings if payment is not received. Best, Nina." I hit send at 11:43 p.m. My attorney responded at 6:15 a.m. He was always an early riser. "Documents prepared. We'll courier the notice to their address this morning and file with the county by noon. Are you sure about this?" I replied, completely sure. At 6:47 a.m., my phone started ringing. "Jessica." I let it go to voicemail. She called again at 6:52, at 7:03, at 7:15, at 7:30, a text from Marcus. "Nina, what the hell is going on? Our bank just called saying our mortgage is in default and the full amount is due in 10 days. This has to be a mistake." I replied, "It's not a mistake. I'm your mortgage holder. You're 47 days late. I'm calling the loan due." Marcus, "You're our what?" Me, "Read the documents you signed 4 years ago. You don't have a bank mortgage. You have a private mortgage with me. I own your house." 3 minutes of silence. Then, "This is insane. You can't do this over a stupid argument at Thanksgiving." Me, "This isn't about Thanksgiving. This is about 47 days of missed payments and years of being treated like hired help by people living in a house I own. Jessica called again. I answered this time. Nana, please, this is crazy. We can't come up with $298,000 in 10 days. You should have thought about that before teaching your son to throw silverware at me. He's 7. Kids do stupid things. Kids repeat what their parents teach them. He called me the help because that's what you call me. Probably daily. I never. She stopped. We both knew she was lying. Jessica, I've been sending you payment reminders for 47 days. You've ignored every single one. You had time to host Thanksgiving for 14 people, but not time to pay your mortgage? We've been tight on money, Marcus's business. Marcus just bought a boat. I saw the photos on Facebook. Silence. The notice of default will arrive by courier this morning, I said. You have 10 days to pay the full balance, or I begin foreclosure proceedings. Those are your options. You're really going to make your niece and nephew homeless? You really threw your children into this conversation after teaching one of them to assault me at dinner? I hung up. By 9 a.m., my phone had 17 missed calls from various family members, Mom, Uncle Robert, even my cousin Jennifer, who I hadn't spoken to in 2 years. At 10:30, my mother showed up at my apartment. I watched her through the peephole for a full minute before opening the door. We need to talk, she said, pushing past me into my living room. Hello, Mom. Don't hello, Mommy. Jessica is hysterical. She says you're foreclosing on her house over a misunderstanding at Thanksgiving. It's not a misunderstanding. Eden threw a fork at me and called me the help because that's what Jessica taught him. The entire table laughed. Then Jessica texted me to know my place. Mom waved her hand dismissively. Jessica was upset. You know how she gets when she's been drinking. You can't throw her out of her house because of that. It's not her house. It's my house. She makes mortgage payments to me, payments she's 47 days late on. My mother's face went blank. What are you talking about? 4 years ago, when Jessica couldn't get a mortgage, I bought her house outright. She's been paying me monthly. She's essentially my tenant with an option to buy. That's not. Jessica said you helped with the down payment. Jessica lied or convinced herself of a different story. But legally, I own that house. She's in default. I have every right to foreclose. Mom sat down heavily on my couch. I had no idea. Of course you didn't, because it was easier to believe I was the struggling one, the one who needed family charity. Meanwhile, I own a $385,000 house that Jessica lives in. Nina, you're being vindictive. Yes, what happened at Thanksgiving was wrong, but you're going to make your sister homeless to prove a point. I'm going to enforce a legal contract that she's been violating for 47 days while treating me like domestic staff. She doesn't treat you like. Mom, she taught her son to call me the help. He threw a fork at me. She told me to know my place. When exactly do I get to stand up for myself? My mother looked at her hands. What do you want? An apology? I want $298,000 in 10 days, or I want my house back. Those are the only two options. That's impossible. They don't have that kind of money. Then they should start packing. Mom stood up, her face hardening. You've become cruel, Nana. I don't know when it happened, but somewhere along the way, you lost your compassion. I lost my compassion around the time my family started treating me like I was beneath them, while living in a house I provided. She left without another word. Day 3 after the notice, Jessica's lawyer called my lawyer. They wanted to negotiate. David called me with the offer. They can pay $50,000 immediately and resume monthly payments, including catching up on the late payments over 6 months. They're asking you to withdraw the acceleration. No. Nina, I have to advise you that foreclosure is expensive and time-consuming. If they're offering to cure the default, they had 47 days to cure the default. They had years to treat me with basic respect. The answer is no. It's your decision, but... David, how many cases have you handled where someone had their family laugh while a child threw silverware at them? He was quiet for a moment. Point taken. I'll inform their counsel that the offer is rejected. Day 5. Marcus showed up at my office. Security called before letting him up. You can give him 5 minutes in the conference room, I told them. But I want security present. Marcus looked haggard when I entered the room. 2 security guards stood by the door. Nana, please. We'll lose everything. The house, our equity, our kids' stability. Jessica made a mistake. She's sorry. Is she? Because she hasn't apologized. She's sent lawyers, family members, and now you. But she hasn't said she's sorry. She's terrified. She doesn't know what to say. She knew exactly what to say when she texted me to know my place. Marcus put his head in his hands. We can't come up with $298,000. We can maybe scrape together $75,000 if we liquidate everything. Please, isn't there some way? Marcus, did you know she called me the help? Not just at Thanksgiving. Apparently it's a regular thing. Did you know about that? He didn't answer. You did know. You've heard her say it. And you said nothing. Nina, I'm trying to keep my family in their home. Your family lived just fine in a rental before I bought them a house. They'll survive in a rental again, maybe a smaller one this time. The kids will learn that actions have consequences, that you can't throw forks at people, that you can't treat family members like servants. Those are valuable lessons, Marcus. He left the conference room without another word. Day 8, Jessica finally called, not to negotiate, not to threaten. She was crying. Nina, I'm sorry. I'm so sorry. I've been horrible to you. You've been nothing but generous, and I treated you like the help? She sobbed. Yes, I'm so sorry. I don't know why I did it. Maybe I was jealous. Maybe I couldn't accept that you were doing better than me. Maybe I needed to believe you were beneath me, because otherwise I'd have to admit I needed you. I sat in my apartment, phone pressed to my ear, listening to my sister cry. I taught Aiden to disrespect you, she continued. I made fun of you to my friends. I told everyone you were struggling when you were the one keeping us afloat. I'm a terrible person. Yes, I said quietly, you were. Was. I'm not foreclosing, Jessica. Silence on the other end. I'm restructuring your loan. You'll pay $2,800 per month instead of $2,400. That's the current missed payments spread over the remaining term. You'll pay on time every month. And at the end of 5 years, you can still buy the house from me at the original price. Nina, I don't understand. I'm angry. I'm hurt. But I'm not cruel. And I don't want Aiden and Emma growing up in rentals because their mother was awful at Thanksgiving dinner. Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm not finished. You're going to apologize to me in front of the entire family at Christmas dinner. You're going to explain what you did, what you said, and why it was wrong. You're going to tell everyone that I own your house and have been supporting you for 4 years. Nina, those are my terms. Monthly payments on time and a public apology, or the foreclosure proceeds. She was quiet for a long moment. Okay, I'll do it. And Jessica, if I ever hear you call me the help again, if I ever hear that Aiden has been taught to disrespect me, if you're ever even 1 day late on a payment, I won't hesitate next time. I understand. After we hung up, I called David and told him to withdraw the foreclosure proceedings and draft a new loan modification agreement. Then I sat in my apartment and thought about Thanksgiving dinner, about a fork hitting my shoulder, about 14 people laughing, about knowing my place. Some lessons cost $298,000 in stress and fear. Some lessons cost watching your sister cry as she realizes who actually holds the power. And some lessons are learned at Christmas dinner in front of the whole family when the person you called the help turns out to be the one who owns your home. The person you threw forks at. The person who could have taken everything but chose mercy instead. Not because she was weak, but because she knew her place, and her place was above needing revenge.